Hello, my name is Reggie. Welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a long time since I have done a book review on this channel. I try to be pretty thorough when I'm doing my wrap-ups so that you get a really good sense of what my thoughts were on a book. I also try to do written reviews on Goodreads. However, neither of those are a substitute for a full-blown video review on my channel. I haven't done one of those in such a long time. So today I'm going to start fixing that by reviewing a book that I adored but read quite a bit ago, and that is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wein. Before I get into this review though, I wanted to let you know you should subscribe to this channel if you're new here and you haven't done so yet. Subscribing means a lot and it means that you want to see more videos from me. You also should click the little bell dude because the bell dude will notify you when I post new videos. To make sure you don't miss out on new content, click the bell. Codename Verity is a YA historical fiction that came out a handful of years ago, but is such a wonderful read, and I really am glad I finally got around to reading it. A lot of you may have read it already because, like I said, it's not a new book. However, if you haven't yet, get on board. This is a great book and I'm so excited to be talking about it with you today. This book review is going to be entirely spoiler free, so feel free to stay till the very end. This book follows our protagonist, who is named Julia. She is an Allied British spy in World War II. She is in a plane that crash lands and she is caught by the Gestapo. She is then a prisoner and tortured for information. What's really interesting about Julia is that she actually ends up giving information to the Gestapo in exchange for little pieces of comfort. Not huge amounts of comfort because she's still a prisoner, but you know, nuggets that keep her going. This book is so beautifully constructed and so wonderfully told. It has a huge emphasis on female friendship, war from a woman's perspective. So we see this story told from Julia's perspective because most of this book is her writing out her story. And throughout her story, the Gestapo is asking questions and she's answering it. You're getting the pieces of nuggets of information he wants, but you're also getting what happened to her past, how she got to where she is today, etc. It's a very strong narrative. The way it's written is very well done. The structure is very smart. You really get attached to Julia, who we know as Verity because her code name, as she is a spy, is Verity. You also get really attached to her best friend Maddie, who was actually the pilot of the plane that crashed. And through the course of this book, you get a beautiful look at their friendship, and it's one of the most pure, wonderful looks at a female friendship I have ever read about, and I love it so much. This book is told in a split point of view. So the first half of the book is told in Julia's perspective, the second half of the book is told in another perspective, which I will not tell you about because I don't want to spoil it for you. This book is also told in alternating timeline perspectives because Julia/Verity is giving you that piece of her past, but then in the story also telling you what's currently happening to her, what piece of torture she just had, what information this Gestapo gave, what scraps of information, paper, pencils, whatever she got from giving these secrets away. It's also a really interesting and thought-provoking look at what makes someone brave during wartime efforts and the lengths at which Julia is going to try to protect her people, but also what she needs to give up for herself and for self-preservation. And you kind of have this dynamic between, do I root for her because she's giving away these secrets? Not because I've become so attached to her and Maddie and their friendship and them as characters while reading their story. I was completely enamored with the story. I listened to it on audiobook. I highly recommend the audiobook. I think Elizabeth Wein struck gold with her audiobook narrators. I've read 3 of her books now, listened to them all on audiobook, and they're the best audiobooks. I love them so much. This story was super compelling. Normally when I'm listening to an audiobook, I'll only read it like in the car while I'm going to somewhere or while I'm walking my dog when I have a specific task I need to do and still want to be reading a book. For the most part, it's like very minimal points in my day that I'm listening to an audiobook. However, the day I decided to start Codename Verity, I found other things to do so I could keep listening. I cleaned my room, I did laundry, I did anything I could that would enable me to keep reading because I was so attached to this book, so enamored by the story, and I had to keep going. At about the halfway point, I knew I was gonna just be done and finishing that book that day and nothing else was gonna get done. And I read this book in essentially what I would consider one sitting for an audiobook. Like basically just listen to it straight. I don't do that with audiobooks. That's how good and engaging this book was. Hands down, one of my favorite books of all time, and I highly recommend it. I think it's clear to say that I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I have read Elizabeth Wein's other books in the series, so this is technically a series. It's kind of a companion series. You don't really need to read the other books in the series to get a full story. We have a story following this called Rose Under Fire. We also have a prequel story called The Pearl Thief. The Pearl Thief probably gets you super emotional because this book will get you super emotional, and then that's a prequel, so you'll be emotional because of the things that go down in this book. The sequel will get you emotional because it's its own host of heartbreak in itself. However, I think this is the strongest book in terms of narrative, storytelling, writing, the characters, everything just comes together perfectly to craft an incredible story, and I believe this is Elizabeth Wein's best work. So while I definitely recommend the entire series, this is the book I think you should read the most out of all three, and I highly recommend it. One of my favorite books I've read this year. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. Let me know if you've read this book, what you thought of it, and if you haven't, if you plan on reading it soon. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Baby, I beg you, yeah.